And we are live. All right, how's everyone doing? My name is Craig, and this is my very best buddy, Miss Ashley. And we are Crash Media Paranormal. Get it? Craig, Ashley, Crashly, so Crash.
You
All right,
right there.
they're there. Exactly. So, Ashley, introduce yourself.
So I'm Ashley, and I have known Craig for many years now,
Yep.
and we've been partners, members of the Tuscaloosa Paranormal Research Group. And so, yeah.
Hey, Jeremy. Jeremy is on.
Hi, Jeremy.
How you doing? So,
Tonight we're going to be talking about our top scariest locations and experiences with the paranormal.
right.
So, yeah.
So,
Oh,
let's see. Would you like to start today, Miss Ashley?
is everything good to go? And we can
Yeah,
just start
everything
in
looks
on
good.
that.
All right.
Okay. So sometimes when you go to locations, even you're going to be sitting in the dark and trying to communicate with the spirits. It doesn't mean it has to be like a scary situation. We've been to a lot of locations that are haunted, and it's not necessarily scary.
Right.
But tonight we are going to talk about the times that we have experienced something really scary, or just locations that were generally scary themselves. So, yeah. So, do you have? We're each going to give three of our top. So, Craig's going to give three of his top.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give my top three. So, do you want to start?
Sure, I can start. I think one of the most scariest places that I was when I first started investigating, and this was probably, well, I started in 2007, so this was maybe a few years into it, so probably about like 2010. But we were called out to a family home. Well, it was a mother and son, and this is in rural Alabama. This is like rural as rural can get. So we take the team out there, and it's a trailer. So it's just a very small trailer, and I grew up in a trailer, so I was like, "Oh, it feels like home." But the second that I walked in, literally something went like right down my face. Like I felt fingers, I felt everything just right down my face. It wasn't a spider web. The trailer is like immaculately clean. I walked in from the front porch into the living room, and and that's when I was like, okay, this is going to be an interesting night. We had a ton of stuff happen that night, and everything that happened that night was just it was crazy. One of the claims that the homeowner had was they would be growled at, like just growled at. So they would like randomly walk into a room and something would go in their ear and go, and we're like, oh, okay, I've never heard that one before. So through the night, at one point there was a lot that happened this night. But this is one of the things that happened that night was I stepped on from the front door onto the to the front deck to get something out of one of the trucks. And as soon as I stepped, something in my right ear goes, and I turned around. I was like, "What in the hell was that?" So I was like freaked out. But I ran, got the stuff, got back in really quickly. We had two brand new investigators with us that night, and both were film people, um, uh, husband and wife, camera duo. One literally filmed the entire night, and the other one, this was her first investigation. So we're all set up in different areas of the trailer, and everything's dark, and we're all taking turns because the size of a trailer. You know how we do when we have multiple groups going at the same time. We'll let someone go for about 15 minutes, someone else go for about 15 minutes. So it was their turn, and this investigator just stops. She was actually with me, and she just stops and gets up and walks out. And like walks out, she's like, "Nope, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done." And we're like, "You're okay. You're okay." She said, no, a little girl walked out of that closet. A little girl just walked out of that closet. She said, I am not walking. I'm not going back in there. I am done. We calmed her down. We got everything, going well. That night we were trying to do some experiments. One of the experiments we were trying to do was a double blind, not double blind ghost box, but sensory deprivation. So ping pong balls, over the eyes, neuro beats, and headphones, noise canceling headphones with the, you know what I mean by the neuro beats,
Yeah.
to sort of put you into a different state of consciousness.
Hmm.
And so you're sitting there, and your only job is to, almost like a double blind ghost box. You just tell what you're feeling, or if you're sensing anything, or if you see any like visions, anything like that. So I'm on the couch, and I can't see, I can't hear, and I'm just laying. And I am convinced that someone is playing with my legs. Like running their fingers down my legs, and I'm like, y'all stop playing with my legs. And I can't hear anything they're saying. And so a few minutes go by, and same things. And I'm like, stop playing with my legs. And come to find out, they left me in there. They were like on the opposite side of this room, and they're carrying on their EVP session, and I'm just sitting there going, stop playing with my legs, because I thought they were tickling, like trying to tickle me.
Hmm.
And it wasn't almost like physical fingers. It's sort of like, let's say when your feet fall asleep and they start coming back.
Yeah.
You know what I
That
mean?
tingle,
Yeah, like
static.
tingly, staticky. But it also felt like someone was touching my legs. And come to find out, nobody was. We're on camera the entire time.
Hmm.
Nobody's playing with my legs. Nothing's going on. And then I sort of put the fingers and then these fingers. So something was messing with me that night.
Yeah.
And you would think, okay, so I've done this many times, and that's never happened before, and it's never
Hmm.
happened since. So when something happens one time, and you repeat that process, and it never happens again, that sort of
Hmm.
correlation right there.
Yeah.
But the weirdest thing was, after there was an old cemetery, like part of that property that the trailer was on, and we don't do cemeteries, but we're like, this is an old like Civil War cemetery. Let's go for it. So we went out, and again we had the husband and wife, camera crew team, and we're walking through this old cemetery, and this cameraman's name was Bear, and
Oh,
we're
I know
walking.
Bear.
Yeah, you
I
know
know
Bear.
Bear.
You
Yeah.
have met Bear, and
Yeah.
he's awesome. He is totally, completely awesome, and we're probably about 20 minutes into this, investigation in the cemetery. We're just asking questions, and all of a sudden, we look over. Bear's packing stuff up. He's like, nope, 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 nope. We're gone. We're like, you okay? He's like, nope, we're gone. We're like, what's going on? This not time to go. Oh, nope, we're gone. He said,
Yeah.
something just growled in my ear, and we have it on recording. I've got to find it. We've got it. The exact same thing that growled at me growled at him, and he caught it on his camera's microphone.
Yeah.
I haven't had time to look for it. I think that I've got it. If not, I can find it. So that will be for another one. We will bring that out. But it
Hmm.
was the exact same thing. Right
Yeah.
into, and before we heard that, we were like, no, it's just there's a freeway behind us. There's the jake brakes on the trucks, because it goes. He's no, it wasn't that. It was the exact same
Yeah.
sound that I heard in my ear when I stepped onto the porch.
And you can tell a difference.
Oh yeah,
Like, let's say if a car goes by and makes a noise or whatever, or just, even like plumbing or anything like that in a
hmm
house, you can tell a difference when it's something growling in your ear. And so, do you remember when we went to what was it called? It was the funeral home in Mississippi, the Old
yes.
South.
Oh yeah,
Can't remember
yeah.
of it.
The
So
funeral home.
some,
We did the jail and the funeral home on the same
yeah.
night.
So that I don't. That's not one of my top three scariest
Right.
locations. But I got growled at that night that we were there. I think we went there twice, didn't we? The first time I went, we were in the chapel area, and they told us a lot of the claims were people getting growled at.
Right.
So we were sitting there. I think it was me and Casey and uh, one of the guys that ran the place, and maybe David or somebody, I can't remember who all was in there.
Right.
And we were sitting there, just sitting real quietly, just trying to listen, and something growled right in my ear. And you can feel, like, if it's your stomach growl, you can feel that and everything.
Yeah.
No, I was completely aware of everything that I was feeling. It growled right in my ear. It picked up on my recorder too,
Yeah.
so I'll have to find that
Yeah.
clip.
We need to find those.
And share that sometime. And they were like, "Yeah, we get growls a lot." And it felt like right after that happened, like I started feeling that staticky tingle on my arm. So it was like something was kind of messing with me there. But definitely when you get growled at, that's pretty scary.
It's significant too, because you can it's so far, it's so close to your ear that you can almost feel the breath. And like that night for me and for Bear, it was the same thing. It's like right here. So it's something right there behind you going, and it's like, no, 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 no. I am done, done. I'm done. But yeah, that was a very, very interesting.
I'm gonna switch my audio really quick.
Okay.
So give me...
Because we're having some issues with Ashley's mic.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah, that's much better. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Well,
your turn.
I'll tell my number 3 location. I'm going to count mine down to the scariest. So my 3rd scariest location and experience is kind of at a private location. So it's confidential, so I can't say where it is. However, the place itself, so the whole property, when you walk onto the property, it has a certain feel to it. Already it's got that creepy vibe. You can go to, like I said earlier, you can go to certain locations and it's, you don't have that creepy vibe. Even like when we went to Old Harriman Hospital, it's a old abandoned hospital. You would think it's super creepy, but you never got that vibe of just like, super creeped out just from being there. But this place already had that vibe to it. It was already creepy. So one of my scariest experiences was at this location. So it was our first time. I actually think it was our second time there, because the first time we went, I got a really good EVP in a certain room. So I went back to the room this second time because I was hoping to kind of connect back with whoever had given me that EVP. And so I was alone. I walked into the room, and somebody else was going to join me, but I was kind of alone for a few minutes. I was just going to go and get set up, get my chair ready and everything. So I walk in and I sit down in my chair. Within minutes, it was almost like I startled something, and because I don't know if it was necessarily charging at me, but it almost sounded like something was maybe trying to run away. All I heard was a shuffle and footsteps, like a physical person in there. And what was so scary to me is I actually thought it was a physical person, because it is a location that has had some vandalism and things like that.
Right.
So I sit down, I hear almost what sounded like a grunt or a voice or something, and then all the shuffling and running. So I thought something was charging at me.
Wow.
And so I grab my walkie. I start screaming on the walkie that someone's in here with me. Scott immediately runs in and he starts just going from room to room. There was no one there. And so that was a pretty scary experience. It's also a very scary location.
Yes.
Everything,
absolutely.
every square inch of that place is pretty creepy. So...
And
yeah, that's one of my scariest experiences.
Of course, at that time, I was at another part of that property, and and I had the next up shift in that very same building. And it was me and our investigators and 2 of my best friends in the entire world, Les and Abby. And we took our turn in there, and we had about a 45-minute session, but about 30 minutes into it, they decided to go upstairs, and I was, downstairs by myself, and beside me was a wooden chair. So I'm in a nice, comfortable armchair, and beside me is a regular like wooden kitchen table chair.
Hmm.
So we're doing the session. We're doing the session. Then all of a sudden, it's like something came up to that chair and just knocked the crap out of it. It popped, pow, and then something was on me, and
Yeah.
so I got rushed by something for the second
Hmm.
time in my life, and that will segue into my number two. Well, actually, that would probably be my number one. So we'll get to that later. But
I will say this about the spot that you're talking about,
mhm.
that wooden chair from like a kitchen chair, whatever.
Yeah,
That's where I was sitting. So in that same exact
that's
spot
right. That's
is
right.
where something rushed at me, and also that's the same spot that before I had gotten an EVP.
Right.
So, and some of the claims of that location, most of the claims of people experiencing things are in a different building that's on the property. It's all connected.
Right.
But a lot of the more significant things that we had happen were in that building that we experienced those things, which that was not the main building that people say they experienced stuff. So
Yeah.
something was definitely setting up camp in there that was trying to scare us out or something.
Right. Exactly. It was,
Yeah.
but also we can also drop this little bit of nugget is that we will with that is the same property we were at this past weekend,
Hmm.
and we will be coming live from there. We're setting it up right now, but we will be live from that property. We are we have gotten the okay to do a live from there to create an episode from there. But
Hmm.
of course, we cannot tell where it is. We can't give any details of it, and we can't film from the outside. We have to film from the inside, which is we're totally
Yeah.
fine with that.
And what some of the reasons for that
Hmm.
is one, to protect the
Right.
privacy of listeners, and
Hmm.
also to protect the location. They
Right.
have had some vandalism and things like that, so it's also to protect
Hmm.
the actual location. And but it's a very interesting place, and so I'm really excited about getting in there
Right.
and being able to show you guys at least some things that we experienced there.
Right.
So,
Exactly. And
mhm.
Ashley, if you can go ahead and switch back to your other audio source because that
Oh,
was
okay.
starting to get a little staticky as well.
All right. Yeah. How is that?
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why sometimes it's making me switch back and
Yeah.
forth in order to clear up that static, but
Right.
got a new mic coming, so,
Nice.
or a new thing
All right.
for it. So, yeah, so tell your number two.
Okay. My number two is one of my favorite places in the world, Waverly Hills Sanatorium, and
And
in
I've never
Kentucky.
gotten to go there.
We've been a couple of times, and before I get to the scariest memory, or the second scariest memory, I'll give you my most favorite ghost hunting memory of all time is watching the sun come up on top of Waverly Hills Sanatorium in the children's playground. And just to see the sun come up over the mountains, and it was an amazing, amazing night. It
That,
gives me
yeah.
chills to think about it. But we sat up there after a full night of investigation. We're hungry, we're tired. We walked up the steps to the top and went out to the playground and sat on the side of the building and just watched the sun come up. And it was
Mhm.
absolutely glorious. And I want to do that
Yeah.
again so bad. But
Yeah.
Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Uh, I think my night started out a little creepy because when we started the night, there were a couple of other groups because it was sort of like a joint group session, and then they all left, and then it was just us. Just at that time, I believe we were just Birmingham Paranormal. We hadn't merged with Tuscaloosa Paranormal Research Group yet.
Yeah.
So it was just us, and there were maybe about 6 people there, I believe, if I remember it correctly. But we're sitting in one of the major hallways, and we're into this EVP session.
Mhm.
And my back's this way, and behind me, everybody else sees them, but behind me, a group of maybe like 4 female investigators from another group are walking. I don't hear them. I don't do anything. And then all of a sudden, I just look over and I see legs, and I jumped out of my skin. And everybody's laughing. They're like, Craig's scared of girls. and I'm like, hell yes, I am. With these girls, they're sneaky. But I jumped out of my skin. So that started us off with a good laugh. And
Mm-hmm.
then later on in the night, we're investigating the morgue. So my happy butt goes and jumps in one of the drawers. So they push me in, and I'm laying in in what do you call them, morgue drawer. And it's pretty late at night, so I'm getting a little sleepy. I'm going a little,
Uh-huh.
I'm getting a little cozy, and everybody else is like back in the hallway, and I'm drifting off to sleep in this autopsy drawer, and my phone is in my pocket, and it's slowly inching out, inching out, inching out.
Oh.
And then right when I'm just about entering that good sleep, boom, it hits the metal slab, and I about jump up, hit my head. I'm like, ah! It scared the living crap out of me.
Yeah.
So that was scary. But it all culminated. If I can speak today, it all culminated.
It all came together
It all came
to
together.
this event.
Exactly. In the death tunnel, or the tunnel where they move the bodies back and forth.
Yeah.
So again, I'm with my best friends Les and Abby, and we are in the tunnel, and we're investigating. This is like maybe 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And if you know anything about Waverly Hills, it is away from everything. There is no traffic. There is no pollution. There's no noise. It is up in the mountains. And we're in the middle of the death tunnel. And all of a sudden, we hear what sounds like a train car start at the top, all the way down through us and back down.
Mm-hmm.
And I ruined the entire EVP because I go, what the was that? And we do have that clip. Again, that will be on our next episode. I will find those clips. I know my friend Les has it. So I'm going to get him to send me that clip. But it literally sounds like possibly one of the train cars that was there, because they would cart them
Yeah.
down on the train cars.
Like a residual
Yeah, like a residual
sound of
sound.
them taking the bodies down through the
Right, and this is
tunnel.
echoing off the walls. It's loud. It starts at the top and goes all the way through us. We feel it go all the way through. The sound goes through us and
Mm-hmm.
all the way down, and we're all just standing there like dumbfounded. And what the fuck was that? So that was probably the second scariest thing that happened, and I don't want to say scary, but I would say one of the coolest things that's happened.
Yeah.
So that was one of my top three. That was my number two,
I mean,
coolest
yeah,
slash
stuff like
scary.
that. They're cool, but also it does unsettle your nerves a little
Right,
bit
exactly.
when something like that happens. And like you said, like when you got touched,
Hmm.
that's another one of those things. It's like it's really neat to experience that, but when it happens and you realize, like, oh, I've been touched,
Hmm.
it does kind of make you feel uneasy and
Yeah.
unsettled. It's like it's scary.
Oh yeah, big time, big time.
Yeah. So my number two is actually a house I used to live in,
Okay.
and I'm gonna call this the Idlewood house.
Okay.
And so we were having a lot of activity go on at that house. So the house that I lived in before that was haunted too, and so a lot of times when I talk about, like, I've experienced the paranormal my whole life, literally every house I've lived in, I've experienced something.
Right.
How is my audio? Is it okay?
It's crackling again.
Okay, I'm gonna switch it really quick.
Okay.
Okay, how is that?
A little better. It's got a
Second.
little rumble to it.
Okay. Oh, the rumble, that's actually our garage door.
Oh.
So
Okay.
that'll stop in a second.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, so so this was before, I think this was what kind of led me to meeting some of the guys in Tuscaloosa Paranormal Research Group, because we had reached out because I think Paxton was a baby, And Jonathan was actually living, he was staying over in Germany a lot. And so I was home by myself with Paxton, little baby, and creepy things were happening. We would hear footsteps, just a lot of stuff was going on. And I think Paxton might have been like a year and a half. And so I had one of those little baby video monitors that
Hmm.
would, monitor him while he would sleep. And so I would hear things in his room, and it all kind of seemed like it was centering around his room. A lot of
Hmm.
stuff would be happening in there. I would hear noises happening, and then I would check the camera, and as I'm looking at it, he would kind of like startle awake or something. I would go in there. There was one night, and several things had been happening. I think that night was when my closet door started shaking, like on its own, and then I heard the footsteps. Paxton woke up and was crying, so I went in his room and I had the lights were off. I just had like a little night light so I could kind of see, little silhouettes and stuff in the room. Um, so I'm sitting in his rocking chair, rocking him, and every time I would try to lay him down, he'd wake up. So I just sat there rocking him
Right.
for like 30 minutes. Um, I was getting really nervous already because I was hearing things happening in the room in the dark, and there was nothing making nothing was making those noises.
Right.
And so all of a sudden this box that I kept a few toys in slid across the room, like all by itself. It just slid
Wow.
across the room. It scared me so bad. I take off running, holding him. He's sound asleep still. And that's probably what finally I was like, okay, you know what, I've got to contact someone that can help me because there's too many things happening in the house. But that right there was, you know, the straw. Like that
Wow.
was having that box slide across the floor. And I had never, even growing up in a haunted house, I had never had something like that happen.
Yeah.
That something moved that drastically, like on its own.
Hmm.
And so that was pretty scary, especially that I was there like alone with Paxton. My cousin actually, since Jonathan was he was over in Germany for like 6 months, and so my cousin had moved in with me for a little bit just to be there for me some nights that since I was just there with a baby. And she got to the point like she had to leave. Like she was like, I'm sorry,
Wow.
I can't stay
Yeah.
here anymore. Things were happening so bad. She had never experienced any kind of paranormal activity. She had something growl in her ear,
Really.
and nothing ever growled at me there. But there was one day she called me and she was like, hey, did you just she was in the shower. She was like, I heard Paxton running up and down the hall, and I heard you out there chasing after him. I was like, we haven't been home. And she was like, oh well, I was hearing something. She got off the phone with me. She called me right back a few minutes later. She was like, something just growled in my ear.
Wow.
And yeah, after that, she was like, yeah, we were sitting there one night, and the closet door, like we heard banging, and the closet door flew open by itself. But yeah, she was like, okay, I got to move out.
Yeah.
Peace out. I can't
Peace
take
out.
it anymore.
See
Yeah.
ya.
And I had to stay there, of course. And then finally, when Jonathan came home and he started experiencing stuff too, we're like,
Yeah.
yeah. So we contacted the group and they came out and helped us out a little bit. But
Well, I'm glad it happened because that's how
yeah,
we met. So.
yeah. Hmm. So yeah, it was pretty scary.
Mm.
Yeah, especially I had always experienced the paranormal, but I was not an investigator at that time.
Right.
And so I didn't know how to really handle all of that or even process it. And so it was one of those things. It's like, oh, something's out to get me or whatever. So I had kind of that mindset of this is just not right.
Right.
So yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I can imagine that would be a lot to handle, especially, I don't want to say we're professionals, we don't get scared. When I hear something in my house at 2 in the morning and I'm sitting in my bed reading and my dogs are all in the bed and we're just chilling and I hear something outside, I'm like, what was that? Yeah.
It's
But
different when
it's
it's
different when you're on an investigation It's like we're
Mm-hmm.
expecting something to happen.
Yeah.
We're like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? We hear something. It's like, ooh, did you hear that? Did you hear that? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And
Here it's like, did
it's
you
at
hear
night,
that?
but in the house, it gets a bit weird. Like
Yeah.
I'll be laying in bed sometimes and I'll hear things like going on and I get scared. On
Right.
an investigation, I usually don't get scared, but like at home, yeah, that it's not cool when it's your own home.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah. So, what is your number one top either scariest location or experience?
Brushy Mountain State Prison, Tennessee. That place is nutsoid. That place
Mhm.
is ridiculous. I can't wait to go back. It is
That's
crazy.
one I haven't been to yet.
Yeah,
I'm excited to go there.
it was a fun night. Number one, it is up in the mountains. It is so up in the mountains that there's nothing but but stars. It's like nothing but
Mhm.
stars. The night we were there, it was cool. It wasn't cold, but it was like perfectly cool. Not a single cloud in the sky. It was just a starry, beautiful, night, and nothing was happening. We
Mhm.
got everything set up. We had cables. That was back before we had the wireless DVR system. So we had cables thrown through that prison. We had DVR set up. We had we had set um, the bionic ears up in the cafeteria area. We had we had the place covered. Um, and for our first couple of sessions, just silence, just totally dead. There was nothing, no feelings. You know how you walk into a place and there's just feelings, nothing.
Mhm.
It's just totally dead. And so we had taken the tour. We had listened to all the claims and everything. So we set up in some hot spots and absolutely nothing. Nothing was going on.
Mhm.
We were like, oh, this is going to be a bust. So me and I can't remember a couple of the other investigators. I can't remember exactly who was on my team at that point, but I believe it was Heather and Abby. I want to say it was Heather and Abby and someone else. But we went to the what do you call the area outside where everyone would like congregate and have like their free time outside
Courtyard.
the courtyard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went
Mhm.
out to the courtyard. They had like picnic tables set up and all that. And it, like I said, it was a beautiful night. And we're up in the mountains. Brushy Mountain State Prison is built to the back of the prison. It's literally a sheer rock face. So there were no like fences or anything because you would have to be able to climb a sheer mountain to
Mhm.
to get out. So it's there's nothing around there. And so we're just sitting there. We're getting a little bored. We're getting a little sleepy. So I say, hey, let's do something. So I let out my biggest Bigfoot hunter yell that you've ever. And if you know me, I'm a teacher. So I've got a very, very, very loud mouth. I am very loud. I have teacher voice plus 10. So I let out the biggest Bigfoot. "Ah," and I go as long as I can. And it's just
We'll have
echoing
to
through there.
include that on an episode one
We need,
day.
we need to. We need to.
Yes,
And
so people can hear your big
and my big mouth. Yeah. My Bigfoot mouth. But it's like echoing. It's echoing. And we say, shh, everybody be quiet. Scott, did anybody else hear that? We're like, no, what'd you hear? Like, we heard somebody screaming. I'm like, no, there's no way. Where are y'all? We're up like third floor. We're like, where did it come from? It sounded like it came from y'all. I'm like, no, it wasn't us. And then finally we, fessed up. We're like, oh, it was just me. And they're like, you asshole, so we were all laughing, having a good time. And then we walked back in the prison. Totally different. The air was just sucked out of that entire prison. I
Mhm.
think I pissed something off so bad. I
Yeah.
honestly think I pissed something off. We went back in and it was just silence. It was like different. It's like
Mhm.
it was palpably different. So we met in our meeting area where we had everything set up was sort of like in the I want to call it almost like a rotunda area that like guard area, and it was back away in there. So we went back in there, and everybody split up into their other groups. And then we came back together, and then me and Les had to go up to the cafeteria to change batteries in the bionic ears and some of the cameras. And it's pitch black up there, so we're literally with our camcorders to find the way. And we get the batteries changed, and we turn around. As soon as I turn around, something jumped me, and it jumped me hard, and it was angry, and it was bad, and it jumped me, and it felt like someone took two live wires and just jammed them into me. My whole body is like, when your feet fall asleep and they're coming back, and it's that tingling to where you can't hardly even move. It's that, except the entire body, and it's nonstop. And I'm just like, I'm like, stop, 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 stop. Something's on me, something's on me. And Les is just like, what's going on? What's going on? I'm like, so we start walking, and as soon as we hit the door, it's gone. It's totally gone. And I'm like, I had never felt that before. I have no idea what's going on. I'm like, something was on me. That's the only thing I can say. Something's on me, and it is pissed off. So we walked down the steps, and I believe the cafeteria was on the third floor. So we walked down to the bottom, and we go into the room that we have our monitors in. Abby comes from another part of the prison, walks into the room, and doubles back. She's like, something's on me, something's on me, something's on me. She had no idea this had even happened. She's like, something's on me, something's on me. I'm like, it jumped off of me, followed us, jumped onto her. She got the holy water. She was like holy watering. And but that was the most bizarre experience in my life until our next location, until where we were this weekend. And right after your experience with the running and the rush, you were sitting in that wooden chair. We were the next group into that building. After we cleared it, we'd made sure there is no one in that building, no one in that complex.
Yeah, everybody double checked everything so thoroughly because of what had happened to me. So we would make sure that it wasn't anyone hiding out anywhere. So everybody had checked it really well.
Yep. So y'all left. We come in. Les and Abby go upstairs. Something hits that chair, and then something rushes me the exact same way. The exact same thing, except this time it was not evil. It was not mean. It was, I just have the sense that it was a kid. Yeah. For some reason, I feel like it was a kid. And I'm going, on camera, you hear me, back off, back off, back off, stop. It's okay. I'm not mad. Just back off. You've got to back off. You've got to move away. You've got to back off. I'm like mumbling, like back off, back off, back off. Because I'm like, oh my God, it's like there's my whole body is like one big, just giant electrical tinging. And then I feel it just subside. And I'm like, okay, I'm not mad. Just talk into my mic, whatever you need. Boom, it was back on me. Again, I'm like, back off. You've got to back off. You can't do that. You can't do that. And so this past weekend, I was sort of wanting to see if that would happen again, but I didn't experience this. I didn't experience it this past weekend.
Yeah. But we're going to be going back. So
we will be back, and hopefully a couple of times. Yeah, we will be back fairly soon. So
yeah.
So that makes me happy. So that was my number one. That was my night in state prison.
So my number one is another house I've lived in. So this was the house I grew up in. I call it the Alberta house because of where I grew up. And so I was I think I was in 10th grade. So I was in high school. And I was home alone, and I remember I was in 10th grade because I was supposed to be going to a homecoming dance or something that night, and so some people were going to pick me up. Okay, so I'm sitting in my room. I had finished getting ready, and I'm sitting there just playing on the computer. So I think back in the day, we had like AOL online or whatever, so I was playing, in the little chat.
That was back in the day.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there, and I lived in just one of those small ranch style houses. So it's like, all the bedrooms like right here across from each other, a hallway right here in the kitchen. So you could hear, like, if somebody's in the kitchen, you could hear it right there, Okay, so I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear what sounds like a cough, like just someone cough. And then the bathroom door, which was kind of like right across from my bedroom, the bathroom door closed by itself.
Wow.
And so, I had always experienced paranormal stuff in that house. However, um, you know, uh, being a teenager, you're already like over dramatic. So I'm sitting there and I hear all that and I'm like kind of freaking out. And I started kind of playing it out in my head. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to run. I gotta think, where's my purse? Okay, my purse is on the table in the dining room. So I'm gonna run as fast as I can, grab it, head out the door. So I'm just trying to get the nerve up to just move. Okay, so I'm sitting there. I hear all that. So I just take off running, grab my keys, my purse, and everything. I head out the door. Okay, I just run down the driveway, because I don't think I was like driving at the time, but I grabbed the house keys and everything. I run down the driveway and I was gonna go to like my neighbor's house. I turn and I look, and there is a full man figure standing at the window looking at me. I could see the
Wow.
details of the face, and so it's just this dark figure. And that right there is when my heart just sunk, and I'm like,
Wow.
this thing is staring at me, and so I just freaked out. Like that was pretty scary. And
I
one
can
of my neighbors
imagine.
went inside, checked everything to make sure there was no like person who had broken in, and it wasn't. There was no one there, and I knew we have stuff like that at the house all the time, and so it was pretty scary to the point that incident, I still have nightmares, just reoccurring nightmares about that whole thing happening, and
Wow.
so that was pretty scary, and that was so many years ago. And like I said, I still every once in a while I'll just have that nightmare, and it's just it. Yeah, that was probably one of the most scariest things that have ever
And that's
happened.
also one of the rarest things is to actually see,
Hmm.
to actually see a physical apparition.
Yeah.
My first physical apparition was at Sloss Furnace in Birmingham. And but it's rare to see a real physical apparition. In my house, I see the little girl from the corner of my eye a lot. My dogs see her, because my dogs will look down the hallway and they see her a lot. But yeah, that's creepy. That's definitely creepy.
Yeah. I cannot see the chat. How is our audio? Is everything good?
I'm getting a message from
Yeah, I
someone
saw that.
saying that ours is a little low.
That's what I was wondering. I can't see it in the chat, so like if I come a little bit
Right.
closer.
Yeah, possible. Guys, this is we just started with a new system, so we're trying to be more professional. And hold on, I have a guest here right now with us. Her name is Dee Dee, and she is the ghost dog. So this is the ghost dog. She's saying it's dinner time, but so we're testing this out. This is our first official podcast. Now, get down. So our first official podcast. So we're going to be working out all these little bugs and getting it. So what we need you to do. Okay, Jeremy says it's all good. And we have lost Miss Ashley. So let's see if we can get her back. Let's see, there she is.
Sorry. Yeah,
All
I
right,
lost
sorry about that. All right,
it for a
got you back.
second. Okay.
All right. Jeremy say hello, Dee Dee. Now, what we want y'all to do as our audience here is we want you to start spreading the word. We're going to try to do this either Mondays or Wednesdays. We are figuring that out, either Mondays or Wednesdays. So, bring some people in. Try to come with some questions. If anyone has questions, anyone have any experiences, we would love to hear that. We're about to get everything set up for call-ins. So hopefully we can have some people call in with their experiences. We're definitely going to have some guests pop in.
We're
Yep.
also going to have
Yep.
a new
You have
if you
officially caught the official. You have caught the official.
I chat, so you'll have to let me know when somebody says something.
Yeah, yeah. That
If it's
was Vegeta
content.
Depp. Vegeta
Um,
Depp said, so we have caught the official.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my friend.
Oh, yay, yay,
Um,
yay.
so, another thing that we're going to do is start a segment where people can send in pictures or videos
Mm-hmm.
that they might think has something paranormal in it.
Right.
A lot of people send in like the orbs and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
that, and so we're going to analyze photos and see if we can either validate or debunk. And there's a thing called pareidolia.
Pareidolia. Yeah.
Pareidolia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I can't ever pronounce that right. Okay. And that's where you see an image and your brain tries to convince you that you're seeing like, it tries to make sense of what you're seeing. So
Right.
it's like when you look at a cloud, and you start seeing like shapes in the clouds, like, oh, that looks like an elephant or, a giraffe. And so that happens a lot in photos. You might see, um, there might be a tree in a photo and you think you see like a face in it or something like that. And so that's one thing we want to do is kind of help put people's like mind at ease
Right.
and realize there's not anything like bad or anything in a photo. A lot of times it's just mistaken identity. Especially I've had a lot of photos sent to me with orbs and it'll end up being like
Yeah.
dust or something like that. I've seen some interesting photos though that um so anyway, we want to either validate or debunk or just whatever, so people can send in photos. And Craig, were you able to
Yep.
download
Yep.
the photos
I've
I
got
sent
them.
you? I have a couple myself. Let me reach over here and grab. Okay, so let's pull up the Lake Shawnee photos.
Okay.
There's two of those. Okay, so I wanted to share this photo.
Which,
There's two of them.
okay, I don't
So
have the
it's
Lake
the
Shawnee. Oh, wait. Are you
okay.
talking about yeah. Okay. I've got those. All right.
There should be,
So, yep.
and if
And
you
I
can
can
screen.
pull those up pretty big here.
Okay, do you have them both open?
Yeah, I've got Lake Shawnee open and I'm going to cover us up a little bit. All right. So on the screen, you see, are you able to see this, Ashley?
I can't see yours. I've got mine pulled up on
Okay.
here, but I'm not able to see the actual live right
Okay.
now. So, um, but okay, so on these photos, this was taken at one of our investigations at a place called Lake
Mm-hmm.
Shawnee, and it was late at night, freezing cold, and I took this photo kind of back to back, and I had someone. I think I posted these in a group one time, and somebody was saying things like, oh, I caught an apparition. And what I want to explain in this photo, because a lot of people could look at that and, automatically think that there's something paranormal or, something scary about the photo. But really, what this was, it was kind of, maybe a foggy night. It wasn't too foggy, but it was cold, very cold, and I believe this is my breath that was picking up, and the flash actually kind of illuminates it a little bit, makes it look spooky. It was also at night, and so even like on my phone, it would have like a slower shutter speed. And so I just wanted to share these two photos. Like I said, they were taken back to back, and a lot of times I've even had people show me pictures like this asking, oh, do you see the face in it or whatever? And I wanted to share how cameras, especially like when your flash is on like that and it can illuminate anything, like even moisture in the air sometimes, and create things that look like little orbs. And so I wanted to use these as examples. Um, I didn't have any photos currently that show any dust orbs or anything like that. So I thought maybe these would be a good example to share.
Right.
So in these photos, there's nothing paranormal. There is only kind of like the steam from my breath.
Right. And I also noticed something else when I look at this that automatically screams that we've got a slow shutter is if you look at the lights, they are
Mhm.
trailing. which means you moved a little bit. So it's a slow shutter. You've got your breath. That's definitely your breath. We have a couple of comments. Donna says it looks like smoke or your breath from being cold. Dep says that she's taken some years ago that looked like that. Camera had a
And so,
timer, and we're
yeah,
walking towards and shot alone.
do pay attention to the lights in a photo if you take something with a slow shutter speed, especially if you take it at night, even with a flash. When you see those lights kind of make little squiggly lines, a lot of times people will have images that they think there's something paranormal in it. Like if there's maybe somebody walking by, even in the distance, it's going to make them look transparent and blurry. So there's things like that you've got to look
Right,
at in photos. And so, it'd be cool if there was something paranormal in these photos, but in these
right.
particular, there's not. And so, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
switch your audio again. You're getting a little crackly.
All right. How is
All right,
that?
that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
And
I'm
I'm
getting a
gonna.
new stand soon for my mic.
Oh, nice. I'm
I
switching to
broke
the
my
next
stand.
picture, which is again, it's showing the same thing, breath. Now, I've seen on, I'm not going to name any particular shows, but I've seen some shows where everybody's like, well, no one, it wasn't cold and no one was smoking. And then the next thing you see someone going, yeah, it's like, it's cigarette smoke, guys.
But even if it's not that cold, but
Right.
cold enough for your breath to kind of show up, even just a
Condense.
little bit,
Right.
maybe not noticeable to you, but let's say you have a flash or some kind of light source that it's going to really like enhance it on a photo. Same thing with sometimes you get like orbs and
Hmm.
stuff. A little bitty tiny piece of dust. You might not
Right.
see it floating in front of you, but the lens on your camera is going to enhance it, and it's going to look like a big ball of energy kind of floating in front of something. And so so
Have you
there's things
ever,
like that.
yeah, have you ever seen rain or mist when you put a flash on it? That's the thousands of orbs are floating. It's like, yeah, that's called drizzle. It's
Yeah.
drizzling. It is drizzling. But
Yeah.
yeah. But we run into that a lot in this field, especially with clients. It's like, okay, look at this picture, and you can see she's in a Victorian dress. It's like, I love you. We love you. But,
Mhm.
that's not, and sometimes we hate to bust, sort of like bust your bubble. Is like,
But our
yeah,
point
that's
is
not
that, so
paranormal. We can explain it.
yeah, and we want people to feel at ease because we've had people that were actually afraid
Afraid. Yeah.
and they caught something on what they thought was something on a photo, and they're like, okay, well, I've definitely got something here. But we've been able to kind of help people like set their
Right.
mind at ease, being
Yeah.
like, this is, we can explain this photo.
Right.
Excuse me. But I have seen some photos that were actually really good. And there's
Right.
one that our group has that I'll talk to David and see if there's some time we
Okay.
can share it because it's a really
All right. So let's go to the next photo, which is one of you.
Is that the Sorrel Weed House
Yeah.
one?
Sorrel Weedhouse.
Okay. Okay, so there's actually nothing really in this photo that would look paranormal, but I want to talk about this because it's another thing that we were able to debunk. Um, it's a claim, basically, that people experience there at the Sorrel Weed House. Now, I'll say this first. That house is definitely haunted, and we had a great time investigating there. We had lots of experiences, many EVPs, great spirit box session. Like, this place is legit. But there's one claim that right where I'm sitting in that photo, and I'm sitting in there because I was trying to experience what everybody kind of claims that they experienced in that area. They say that there is a shadow man that walks from that door to another door. And right behind that fireplace, there's a hallway and another door right on the other side. And people would see a man kind of run from one door to the other. And so I wanted to experience Shadow Man.
Right.
Um, when I was sitting there, and every time I would see a dark shadow look like it would run from one end to the other, I noticed that okay, so in that room, I'm in the basement and so it's below, like ground level. There's windows actually kind of like at the top, those real long, long, narrow windows. And right where those windows are, it kind of like is level with the road. And so cars would go by and they had most of the window kind of blocked out with, I can't remember, like either some fabric or some tape or something, but there'd be like a little sliver where light would come through.
Right.
And every time a car would go by, it would create it would like light would reflect off of the car and it would create this shadow where the tape on the window was, that would make it look like a dark shadow run from one end of the hall to the other. And so, so that's one big thing that we do is we try to debunk. But to me, that really helps validate a lot of other stuff to me that might happen at a location. So the things we're able to debunk, and then there's things that we're not,
Right.
and we can't debunk it, then it makes me feel like for sure, like, then this is a really good experience when you can't debunk something.
Yeah,
And
and
yeah,
also, with a paranormal group, if we have members here from other groups, that helps your credibility. If you're able to critically look at what you're doing and say, "Yeah, I really want that to be paranormal, but that's just a car," or I really want that to be paranormal, but I honestly think your Taco Bell is acting up, and I think that was a stomach growl. You've got to be able to look at things critically because that's what we're here for. We're here to get evidence. We're here to find answers.
and
We're
that
here to have fun.
yes. And
But
act all scared, like you hear a noise and
right,
you want to convince yourself that, oh, that was a ghost. But
right,
when you're actually able to not debunk it and you realize that, okay, I can't debunk that, so it's actually
right.
something even more exciting.
Exactly, exactly. Switch your audio again.
Okay. Yeah. So,
All right.
okay, how's that?
Okay, that's better.
All right. All right, we are approaching near an
Right.
hour. So some of the other photos we can kind of share. We've got
Well,
a funny one.
let's
We'll
look
save
at.
it for next time.
Oh, you want to save it for next time? Well, let's talk about. Let's talk
Well,
about
if
it. Let's talk about it. This one is
okay.
super scary. So be careful when you look at it. Okay, here it goes.
Now, if Les
Toilet
and Abby are still
glove.
watching, got to explain this one. Okay, so this is a meme we made that's an inside joke with the group because this was on the same night we visited, actually the same trip we visited Lake Shawnee,
Uh,
except for this was at Sweet Springs Sanatorium, and it was so cold, like 18 degrees, and
it.
we decided
Oh, hold on. We lost her. Hold on. Let me get her back. Bugs. We got bugs. Hold on. Waiting for her to log back in. Sorry, guys. While we're waiting on her, it was so cold that night that I had a soda. I believe it was a Diet Coke, and we walked to the springs, and in about less than a 5 minute walk, it was frozen solid in the bottle. I'm trying to get Ashley back. All right, give us a moment. Because she tells the story much better than I do. You do not want to see me talking all night. Let's see. Okay, here she comes. All right.
okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm having some connection issues.
We got you back.
All right. Did you tell the story or
Well, I told them about my drink freezing literally in my hand as we walked to the Sweet Springs.
yeah.
So
It was so cold and
it
we
was
chose
ridiculous.
outdoor locations. Even though Sweet Springs was indoor, we were outdoor a lot. And oh man, that was the coldest I've ever been in my life. Okay. So we had gotten these heated gloves. So you charge them and they heat up. It was so cold that even the heated gloves were not keeping our hands from freezing. So, this was Abby's glove, and they're expensive. They're heated gloves. Okay, and so there's the toilet, the bathroom to this place was like up a hill and kind of like far away.
Yeah.
You have to walk, like hike up to go get to it, and so Abby came back in. She was like, I can't find my gloves anywhere. And so that night we kind of like, kept going on our investigation, and I went to the bathroom and the glove had fallen in the toilet and frozen in the toilet bowl. But it was too expensive to throw away. So I got that glove out of the toilet and brought it out there. I was like, Abby, here, I found your glove.
And it was an ice block. That thing was like thunk,
It
thunk, thunk. It was
was.
frozen solid.
Yes. We had a propane tank that we were trying to use to keep warm, and it froze.
That
Stand outside,
was,
and you start forming icicles on your
oh
eyelashes.
God, it was insane.
I got so sick that weekend too
Oh yeah.
from being
And
outside of Honey. Had no voice the rest of the for 2 weeks. I didn't have my voice back.
on our next episode, we need to cue Jonathan's little experiment in the maze.
Oh, I should have included that in
You
one
should
of
have.
my scariest experiences.
Right.
Yeah,
'Cause that was scary.
definitely share that next time. So y'all are in for a treat next time because he got me.
He got you good. He got you good.
Yeah.
All right. Now, does anyone on our chat have any questions? Anything you would like to share? Everyone good?
Let's see. I have a question that we can answer.
Okay.
Um, where is somewhere that you've investigated that you'll never go back again, and why?
I don't know. Well, there is a place that I will never go back again because of the owners.
Yeah. We have the
Yeah,
same
we have that same story with that one. We caught let's see, let me see something here. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, we caught no, Jeremy, not yet. We haven't been to Winchester House, but some of our friends have. That's on my bucket list. But
Yeah,
this
that.
particular house that we went to
And we
was
won't
an
say
amazing place. We will never
place.
say who it is, but
We don't want to.
yeah, it was an amazing place. But we did catch the caretakers doing things they shouldn't have been doing and faking some evidence, or trying to fake some evidence. But so we will never go back ever.
Because the thing is, if we experience something, we want it to be genuine,
Authentic. Yeah.
real. We don't want to, say we experienced something just because we heard, whatever,
Right.
That's why we debunk stuff, because when we experience something paranormal, we want it to be real. And
Right.
so that is a place that, unfortunately, because it's a cool place, but
Right. It's an awesome place, but unless
yeah.
it has new owners, we're not going back.
What was your first paranormal investigation?
Oh my gosh. I don't remember. There's been so many. There's been literally hundreds. I don't remember. I think my very first thing that I've ever done was I lived in a small area called Hueytown in Birmingham, and in the minor area where I taught school and grew up, there was a famous Bayview Bridge. So me and the guy that we started Birmingham Paranormal, that was the first thing we ever did. We went under the Bayview Bridge and had audio set up, and it was one of those woman threw her baby overboard, or off the bridge, and is searching for her. We did get a few cool things, but we were brand new at it, and that was the very first thing I did, was under a bridge in Mulga, Alabama.
My first official investigation was the Sorrel Weed House. So the picture that we shared.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I want to go back there. It's quite an expensive place to investigate, but I want to go back there because we definitely had some great interaction.
Yeah.
Like I think at one point we were doing the spirit box session, and I'm sitting there, and I said, "How many spirits are in the room with us?" And this voice came through the spirit box, just very clear, just nonchalant, 7. And
Wow.
I was, okay, that was a direct response, and now I'm a little creeped out. Um, but yeah, we also have a few announcements that I want to
Switch
share
your
with you
audio
all.
one more time if you don't mind. Sorry.
Also, my voice is a little hoarse, so it could be me being crackly.
Oh, no, no, it's definitely your thing.
How is that?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. But yeah, we've got a few announcements. One, we have an investigation lined up at the Drish House, and that is located in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, an amazing place. And that is going to be Saturday, March 9th. We are going to be doing a live stream from that, so we'll announce more, like, reminders and stuff closer to time. We'll be making an episode from there, but that's going to be really fun.
I cannot wait.
Trish is always amazing, and so we also, that I'll have more details on this later. That investigation is also going to be featured in an article, so I'll let you all know more about that closer to time. We have Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, April 6th and 7th. So that's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
The only time I've ever been to Old South Pittsburgh, we didn't have a whole lot of activity, but I know that place, what it's capable of, and what other people will have experienced. So I am so excited to get back there.
Oh, it's going to be wonderful.
Yeah. And also, we have a few other locations coming up. We'll let you all know closer to time. But the one we mentioned earlier, the one where I've had a very scary experience, it was on my top 3 list.
And mine.
And it's an undisclosed location, so it's private. But we are going to be filming an episode on that location. So it's going to be, I'm excited to kind of share at least some of the experiences there with some people. So yeah. So
All right. Well, I guess that concludes our evening tonight. We hope y'all enjoyed it, because we most certainly did. We are going to be working on these bugs, but hey, we're loving it. We're doing this because we love it, and we want to get to know all the people out here in YouTube land, and bring people to us.
Yes. And we are so new to like the podcast and
Right.
everything. We're
As you can tell.
all this stuff worked out, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. So
What about the Shining Hotel? The Stanley Hotel, some of our investigators have been there. Again, that's on my bucket list, so I am definitely wanting to go there.
And one day we will go and we will have an episode there where we'll
Absolutely.
us.
All right. But thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. I cannot believe we've been here for an hour and 1 minute. But yeah, we appreciate y'all. Love you guys. And
And also in the future, hey, if you have photos that you think, that might have something paranormal and you would like to, have us take a look at it, send it in. You can email us at crashmediaparanormal@gmail.com.
Yep. crashmediaparanormal@gmail.com. All right. So everyone have a wonderful spooky night, and let us know. Email us, and we will see